Welcome to the inaugural episode of The View from Vertex. This is day one, week one, ground zero. On this podcast, we're going to be speaking to scaffolding industry professionals, the movers and shakers shaping the construction industry, as well as entrepreneurs, sportsmen and women, and people with a story to tell. That leads me to my first two guests. Whenever you start a new venture in life, you tend to start with the people you know the best, the people closest to you, your friends and your family. I'm lucky enough to be able to count Zach in both of those two camps. Zach is the nephew of my best friend, Frankie. He's unlucky enough to have known me his entire life. He's a scaffolder. He's a budding property entrepreneur. He's also a white-collar boxer and Fusiliers sniper. We've got Paul. Paul's going to be organising the event that Zach's boxing on. Paul, something of a local hero. He's a ambulance first responder volunteer, also an ex-serviceman with the same regiment as Zach. He was a specialist machine gunner drummer. He's a local entrepreneur with 3 successful businesses to his name. Genuinely a great person to be around, full of energy and a lot of great stories to tell. So in true podcast fashion, I hope that everybody's listening. And if you are, tell fucking everybody. Gents, welcome to the podcast.
Oh.
Zach, how's things?
Very good, mate. Very good. Pleasure to be on.
It's great to have you. It's also, I'm going to have to thank you in advance because you didn't really know much about this.
Yeah, kind of got ambushed coming out of the gym.
So, for anybody who doesn't know, I rang Zach this morning on my way here, and I was always going to be recording the first episode. And I was like, I'm going to speak about who I'm going to speak to. It's probably just going to be a bit of an intro. I thought, this is just going to sound shit. I need a guest. I need someone to be on there. Zach's one of those people, you ask him and he just says yes and worries about the consequences later. I probably count myself in that camp as well, but, I can't thank you enough for coming on. Paul also got ambushed.
Full frontal attack, wasn't it?
Full frontal attack. So I collared Zach. Zach was happy to come on and all the rest of it. He said he was going training for the fight that he's got coming up. And the person who's organising the event just so happens to be in the room as well. Paul, great to have you on. Thanks for being here.
It's a pleasure.
I think we'll probably start with, the podcast. If you don't mind, I'll start with you, seeing as, your military experience from what we were speaking about this morning, apparently trumps Zach's because you're a specialist machine gunner drummer. What was it that led you to the military?
My dad was an ex-artillery guy. We was brought up on camp in the military, so I just thought I'd follow in his footsteps at the time. I was only 16, a boy soldier. So I decided to join up, and the Fusiliers was calling, and that's where I ended up. So
was your dad in the same regiment as you?
No, he was artillery.
He was Royal Artillery. When you say on camp,
yeah, I was a pad brat in Germany.
So interesting.
That's where he was based, and that's where most of my younger life was brought up in.
Yeah. So I mean, to take it back to the scaffolding thing, I actually worked in Paderborn for about 6 months. I was over in Paderborn. Wasn't allowed in any of the local bars, pubs, nobody wanted us because they thought we were squaddies. Yeah. So they carried a bit of a reputation, but some great blokes over there that we ended up actually going on the drink with and that.
Yeah. Many a good nights in Hamburg and all them places when I was in, because that's where I was based when I served as well in Germany, in Celle, Hanover.
Okay.
So did 5 years there before we moved to North Luffenham.
So is it almost like a bit of nepotism, like you've followed in the old man's
that's it,
footsteps? Active service?
Yeah, did the 2 operational tours. We did the first war in Bosnia and the first war in Kosovo, Pristina, when it was just kicking off. We did 6 months active service there in both places.
And how long in total in the Fusiliers?
8 years I'd served.
8 years?
Yeah.
So that's a a bit of a journey kind of from...
Yeah, from joining at 16, from being, you know, in a war zone at 18, on your 18th birthday, pissing down with rain, pulling cop cars over because they just shot someone. There's no law and order there or anything like that. So we was trying to bring, you know, part of NATO, K4, Kosovo Force, and S4 was Bosnia. So yeah, it was eye opening.
So, Zach, your story coming into the military.
So, yeah, going into military, pretty much same as Paul. Dad was in the army. Just always had a natural interest in it, and then applied to go in just before my 18th. Got in a bit of trouble with the law. So
yeah, we know about that.
I had to sort of...
Are you keeping that a secret or telling us
No,
what?
it's just one of them, and it's part of parcel growing up, fighting and stuff, and then so I had to sort of knock that on the head, and then obviously I went scaffolding for a bit, so I had that sort of under my belt, learnt my trade, and then one of my mates, Connor, rang me and was like, "Mate, you can be applying now, it's time to serve," so jumped straight back into it, and that was me, off up to capture it,
Yeah.
phase 1 and 2, got like top student, soldier, won a few awards up there, straight, got to the battalion, and then yeah, because one of my mates was in snipers anyway, Connor.
Yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, just make the jump, man. You know, come across." So
yeah,
little red ass went knocking on my sergeant's door. I was like, "What, I'll go snipers?" He was like, "Yeah, do
already."
Yeah, it's like, "Do it, mate. You got to do 2 years yet before you can go over to."
See, I've heard this from a lot of people who've been in the military and all the rest of it, and I think I read it in Ant Middleton's book. I think it was. I think a lot of the time, you know, the senior sort of officers and people in charge sort of say that don't get ideas above your station, to partially to, you know, sort of slap you down a little bit, but sometimes to light a rocket under your ass,
Yeah,
you know, to make you want it a little bit more.
Because when you're going over to W Company, which was in Fusiliers, it's support company, so it is like the senior company, so they are looking for people that have been about a bit, probably done like a couple of overseas exercise, or back in the day at a tour. Because obviously it is, then you're like, obviously Paul as well, it's a specialised role, so you're not just an infantry soldier. You know, you go and do your sniper course, your mortar course, your javelins, your guns. So it's a role, and then you go and specialise within that role. So then when you pass out, really, you know, you're an SME on that different type of weaponry and tactics and stuff.
I suppose it's like what the Americans call, you know, in college, like your major. So like you're whatever you are first and foremost.
Sort of civi terms, it's going down to be a specialist role. Yeah, so I was quite fortunate. I already had sort of friends in the books with that. So yeah, and then they sort of got me on and said, right, you know, if you pass the pre-course, which is arguably just as hard as the SOC within the Fusiliers anyway, because at the time I sort of came just after they'd sort of all got back off tour, and the platoon was solid. It was obviously the best platoon in the battalion. Just a lot of good characters in there and stuff, which we'll touch on later. And yeah, found myself fortunate enough to get on the pre-selection, which was like, you know, an 8-week course, like a beat up for it, and then past that. And then, yeah, then you go into your continuation training, so you spend a bit more time in the platoon, get bedded in and stuff, and then do all your shooting stuff. And then, yeah, I went down onto sniper cadre down in Brecon, and came top on that as well.
It should probably be noted as well while we're speaking about this. You were kind of didn't just start there, did it? So you had like obviously with your dad being in and all the rest of it, you were sort of exposed to it quite early in the cadets.
Yeah, I did the cadets.
Obviously, I'm guessing that's going to have played into the reason why you made the decision to join the, you know, the full service. What skills do you think you learned in that part of your life?
What could I transfer from the cadets over to the military?
Yeah.
So I'd say stuff like discipline, being able to iron a set of uniform, getting away, going on camps and stuff. And the sort of the cadet curriculum is based around, like, say, phase 1.
Yeah. So,
you know, you're out in the field, you're learning how to put bashes up, you're learning how to shoot. So it is all transferable skills. But obviously, when you go in the army, I won't start gobbing off about cadets.
the unfortunate thing is that fucking scaffolding got in the way, really, didn't it? In a sense. Not to downplay the trade, because obviously, you know, that's my background, that's my trade and everything. You know, I've met some brilliant people throughout, and, you know, really good sort of role models, mentors and stuff like that through a lot of them actually ex-servicemen themselves.
There's quite a few.
They seem to be quite a lot of, it's like as you say, transferable skills, and it's a certain type of people. You might call them risk takers, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does sort of draw from them, people from those kind of backgrounds.
Yeah.
Paul, with your military experience, I'm guessing it's kind of similar for you because you was exposed to it so young. Did you do anything like cadets or?
Yeah, my story is exactly the same as that, to be fair. I didn't even know we was in the cadets. I was in the cadets as well. My dad ran the local cadet attachment. And I did Army cadets. Yeah.
Do you think that's something that he's sort of imparted on you as well, your dad? Like, you running things, obviously you're organising this boxing event. I probably should have mentioned in the intro as well, Paul's the chair. Is it the chairman of the Failsworth branch of the Royal British Legion?
Yeah, chairman of the Royal British Legion branch. We've not had a branch in Failsworth for 45 years, so it was good to get it off the ground with Zach and a couple of other ex-army lads, Chris, Les, Lorraine and Sam. We're all part of the committee. We've been up and running now for 2 months. We're getting a good following. I think we're up to about 120 members so far as well.
Good lad, that's fucking impressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, that soon into the journey. Would you say that an element of that sort of organisational stuff, obviously it's come from the military and everything, but was it something that your old man maybe imparted onto you, the organisational aspects of things?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, coming from a military background with my dad and all that, we was quite disciplined as kids. Brought up, probably say like in a military household.
Yeah.
We always had to make sure our beds were tidy, made, and didn't have much rubbish.
Press ups before breakfast and
yeah. I mean, training's always been part of my life. I've always been a fit lad.
Yeah.
And I used to run for the school, used to play rugby for the school and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's obviously clear why the two you two like have gelled and kind of formed the bond. It's like almost like the same, exactly the same story.
Yeah.
Same sort of sports.
A lot of military lads obviously have got the same story, or dads are ex-military, or it's just natural interest in it.
Yeah.
And the banter's still the same, no matter how long you've done or whatever. I still take the piss out of him.
Yeah. We were saying off air, weren't we? I'm one of these fucking annoying arsehole. I was going to join up, but I was. Some people say it like they probably never even fucking, went down there. I've been to the Armed Forces Careers Office, got as far as like talking about basic training, when it's going to happen and all the rest of it. I did a bottle it. Did scaffolding get in the way with me? I don't know. It's definitely something. It's one of those things that gnaws at you.
You've always had a natural interest in that.
I have.
We've talked in depth loads of times, haven't we? You always do long for that.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you don't find that in the army as well. Like I always wanted to go do the job and go to war and all that.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a tour, but it wasn't a fighting tour by any stretch of imagination. But I still long for it. It's the exact same as you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's
probably to both of you this. Do you think that's just an inbuilt thing that's inherent to just men in general?
Yeah, definitely. It's called like hero syndrome.
Oh, there's a fucking name for it.
Yeah.
Hero syndrome. Go on then, Zach. What's hero syndrome?
No,
I forgot it.
Just like the rough out sketch. It's just like, I think it's like your natural instinct to be a protector in it, and then obviously.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and then obviously you go with that. I remember your pal Connor mentioned. I think maybe it was like a TED talk or something that he watched about how almost like you kind of not indoctrinating into it, but like a lot of what you see in the media, a lot of the way it's portrayed and everything, it's like it's tapping into that inherent sort of inbuilt
like
need
to. Yeah, there's loads of psychology on like soldier and army and stuff like that. You can get quite in depth with it. But yeah, it's just that it's like even all like the World War II posters, it's like your country needs you, like that.
It's tapping into something that's within us.
Yeah. The psychology behind it.
So, Paul, when you left, how did you find the transition into sort of Civi Street?
Quite easy, me. I've always been a natural doer, and whatever I want, I achieve. I always believe in whatever you give the universe, it has to give you back fourfold. Doing what I do in the community and stuff like that, I believe has made me successful as what I am today.
See, when we were reading the intro out, I was like, I couldn't believe that. He's an ambulance first responder. He's a chair of the Royal British Legion. I'm reading this fucking resume out. I'm like, when does this guy sleep? Do you know what I mean? When does this guy sleep?
Yeah.
Just a massive list. And like you say, born doer by the sounds of it.
I'm just trying to stretch my leg out. I've got a bit of cramp.
Yeah, so for I don't know if we've mentioned it so far, but these two have been fucking knocking holes out of each other preparing for this event that we've.
I wouldn't have banged him out.
Yeah. Is there any truth in this? We're not supposed to talk about sparring stories. Go on.
No. The last time we had a spar, we ended up in a cast. He's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, and he was like, just straight after boxing. He's like, come on then, get your fucking boots off. He tapped me, but
that's what we call white belt trash.
He's what?
White belt trash.
Blue belt now.
Because I mean, I'm not a boxer naturally. MMA. I've been doing that for the last 20 odd years. Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I've had quite a few fights, MMA fights in the octagon. And I've given every money that I've raised, I've always given it to charity as well. I've not took a penny from it. Broken bones. Just to go into this last camp now. I broke this hand. I broke this hand twice, and I've ruptured my distal bicep in the last year and a half.
Fucking hell, and still going.
And still going, yeah.
Pushing you forward, man.
Just look at his ears. Like fucking bits of chewing gum stuck to the side of his head.
They're what we call cauliflower ears in the trade.
I don't know whether the camera's going to pick this up, but is it this one? Is it this one? It's this one, yeah.
Oh, do you do a bit as well?
No, someone tried to bite my fucking ear off. Bit of a that's another story for another day, but not backwards in coming forwards anyway. Let's put it that way. Bits and bobs of sparring and boxing training and all the rest of it. Nothing to the extent you guys have done. Putting it all on the line in front of people takes a big set of cojones.
Yeah,
it does. So the event we've got coming up, we're talking about transition since leaving the military. Sports obviously played a big role in that for both of you. It sounds like keeping you focused, keeping you sharp, and all the rest of it. Luckily, we have the power of editing. Sarah's got a work cut out for her. Sport. What are you doing to sort of keep your mind sort of sharp and focused?
Yeah, so sports, like you say, it's always been. My dad was quite rigid with it, to be fair, growing up. So I had to do karate when I was younger. Not had to, but he always, made sure that we was sort of keeping ourselves occupied with something. So did karate when I was a kid.
Karate.
Karate, no pun intended. Then I was just on a rugby pitch then from being sort of under 10s, I think, right the way through to last year or 2 years ago. I had a bit of a dodgy knee injury.
It definitely keeps you. I always find people who've been obviously in the military and been involved in sports, like Sarah's brother Joe, he used to play for Manchester Magic, yourself playing rugby, military. A lot of the lads I know have been in football teams and all the rest of it. They always seem to have a really big social network.
Yeah.
Which I think really kind of.
Yeah, definitely.
Helps.
And being in a team as well, it's somewhat bigger than yourself. I think every kid should sort of try and do sports or get your kids involved in sports or anything. Doesn't have to be sport, cadets or anything. I think it's very important.
Definitely some lessons there, isn't there, for later
100%,
in life.
You've got to train your hardest and get beat. You need to feel that.
Yeah.
You need to train your hardest and win.
You know what? I think so many kids now are just short of sounds horrible to say, but a bit of a fucking ass whooping. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't mean that necessarily in a physical sense, but they just need to, like you say, know what it feels like to not win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's fucking what makes you better.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what drives you on, drives you forward.
Short sometimes, and you need to plug the gaps and get better.
So we'll talk a bit of business now. I'll probably start with Paul. Obviously, you've got 3 businesses in your sort of portfolio. Did you always know that you were going to start a business when you left the military?
Yeah, again, following on the story. My dad was a locksmith. So when I came out, I just wanted to work for my dad. It was a natural progression for me to leave the business. When he closed his business down, I started my own, which led on to starting other companies and being successful. And the business is doing quite all 3 of them are doing quite well now, and we're still busy.
So 3. So the locksmith one we've got. The other 2 businesses.
Yeah. So we've got Cyro Services Oldham Limited, Cyro Services Failsworth, and we've got Cyro Event and Medical Services.
What's Cyro? What's
Cyro's? I chose that name because of I'm a big fan of Superman.
Right. Okay.
And it's Cyro's dog. Superman's dog was Cyro.
Right.
So, there's no real meaning for it. It's just, I couldn't call it Superman Locksmith, so I called it Cyro.
Is it what do you do? Is it construction based? Is it what?
No,
what kind of
locksmith. So
service?
basically,
Oh, so it's locksmith.
yeah. A lot of mine, probably people like me now for this is a lot of court warrants. Breaking into people's houses under the warrant, executing gas and electricity warrants and repossessions and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I'm the bad lad.
So I guess the fucking MMA training.
Yeah, definitely comes in handy. Yeah.
You're not going to want, in that kind of game, you're not going to want some shrinking violet turning up at your
No,
door.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're locksmiths. We're not security or anything like that. Although other people think we are. I don't intend to. But obviously, touching back on the army, it's about conflict and control and stuff like that. How you speak to people, how you would like to be spoken to, and stuff like that. I never really get into any arguments. I'll never get any beef or anything like that. I speak to people how I'd like to be spoken to, and I'm always calm, collective, and I can always diffuse the situation.
The toughest people I know are probably the gentlemen. Do you know what I mean? They tend to be the people that don't want to get into a tangle.
No.
Probably because they know they can, and probably also know the consequences of what can happen if things don't go according to plan. Zach, your business is, I mean, you've now started a property.
Precision Properties.
Obviously, getting the name from the
from the sniping background.
Makes sense. Makes sense. What was the name again?
Precision Properties.
Precision. Was you precision in your shooting?
Yeah. So you get a badge. So sort of coming out the army, I knew, like I said, put so much into being a sniper and stuff and all that, and I just really didn't fancy going back to scaffolding. Potentially working for somebody. Obviously, I knew it's good money and all that stuff, but my heart really wasn't there. I can do it and I'm competent at it, sort of. But yeah, I just sort of wanted to go into something on my own, work for myself, and something that's going to sort of generate a bit of wealth and
something that you can sort of pass on to your kids and all that sort of bit.
Kind of getting to the age now. I'm 30 years old now, so I'm kind of.
By the way, to say that you're doing this by 30 is fucking impressive.
Yeah, that's
what I mean. I hear a lot of lads, your age, and they go, I'm 30 now, and you think, fuck me, and I'm only 8 years old, and you know what I mean, at 38, and I remember feeling like at 30, like fucking hell, I need to do. But the fact that you're doing what you're doing now by 30 is commendable. It's impressive, definitely. And we've talked in the intro, didn't we, about resume and all the the things that you've kind of done and achieved already. You're flying, mate, and still bags of time to get things wrong, things right.
That's it, mate. That's it. I think now I've sort of come out of an environment where I was working with, the best of the best, and just having them guidelines.
What, you trying to say that when you was at Vertex, you was working with the worst of the worst?
No, not at all. No, but I mean, going from like a sniper platoon where every man is accountable, and you're in sort of like every man's just a trusted bloke, and you've got all that around you. And I was like, well, I'm going to keep this mentality now and then just apply it on Civi Street. And rather than working for somebody else, why not just set something up on myself? Do you know what I mean? I've got a bit of a payout from my injury.
Yeah.
My dad has got a bit of money. He's willing to invest a bit. So let's just make it happen. Let's go for it. Let's see where we can take it.
Well, as I said, you're a doer. You always have been a doer. And it's one of them, like, not that anyone fucking goes out and plans to fail and all the rest of it, but there's still bags of time to learn on the job and get things right, get things wrong.
That's it. Yeah. And I think what's sort of been a blessing as well from the army is like it's very course orientated. So it's like, we used to go and send blokes to do like a radio course, and then they come back and teach every man it, or we'd send someone to go and try challenge some new weapons, come back and give feedback. So, since leaving the army, I've spent just short of 10 grand on courses doing like, when I've done the property course before I was still in the army. Yeah. So I paid that off my own back, down at the property circle with Stephen Hamilton. He's really good, brilliant. And then through there, met a guy called Jack. I paid for some mentorship with him. That's going to be a sort of 6 months. That's going to get me through the next bit. Jack's really good at what he does.
That's what they're saying.
Safe hands with him. And then on top of that, coming out the army and with like the mental health side of it, not saying like I was struggling bad with it, but I had certain stuff going on, which we can touch on later. And then, I invested a bit of money with a guy called Mark Rhodes, who does the Hard to Kill Brotherhood. Yeah. I know he's interested about that. Yeah. So, I've invested quite a lot of money myself, because I know that, you know, once you get this right,
Yeah.
then you can go and pursue what you need to do. You know, you've got to give yourself the right tools to go and sort of attack it. I don't just want to go in there winging it, like, what do properties? Like, yeah, but right, where does that start? What does that entail?
Yeah.
Who do you need to make connections with? Where do you need to put your money? You know, how do you source a good property? How do you, you know, the ins and outs of property, you know?
So many people don't do that, by the way.
Just
you know, like the investment in themselves.
That's it, mate. And
like,
you know, if you don't invest in yourself, what have you got? You're going to work for somebody else. They've got the investment for you. They're going to, you know, if you can go and earn 40 grand a year scaffolding, how much are they making?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
And by the way, some people are happy with that, and like, they just want to go on holiday.
I'm not knocking scaffolding.
But so many people don't make the investment in themselves. And it's like, I know there's this term, I don't know if you've heard it before, but fucking entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Like the people are just sort of like, they've got an idea, they want to pursue it and all the rest of it. But, you know, and I guess sometimes it's a bit of like paralysis by analysis. They sit there and they think, well, I need to do this first, and it's a chicken and egg. It's a scaffolding company. Do we buy a wagon first and then the kit, or do we, you know, where are we going to put the kit? Well, maybe we need a yard first. It's crazy. Like when we started the scaffolding business, you remember the story?
Dave, next military lad, bam, just get it done.
Yeah, well, he was the doer. He was the first one who got the thing is, we were talking about it. We had this opportunity we had a council contract that a friend of ours I'd been doing some consultancy work for, had a contract on Skelmersdale, and he was like, this guy who I've got to sort of subby this thing out to, he keeps letting me down, all the rest of it. I was like, oh, okay. I said, you know, what's it involve? How many hours do you need doing this, that, and the other? He's like, so many. I'm like, we could have a look at that. And he's like, who's we? And there was no fucking we, by the way, at the time. It was like, just me and Lee were doing a bit of subbing for Lee Woods and that.
The old time saying, fake it till you make it.
Oh, yeah, 100%, mate. 100% fake it till you make it. So, yeah, we was like, well, maybe we do this thing. Well, it starts in 4 weeks. So if you've got the gear and you've got, like, you know, the kind of capacity to do it, you know, crack on, you can have it. So I was like, right, okay. So Dave, first one, I've got a loan. So then me and Lee are like, shit, right, we've got a loan. So now we're sat with 30K between us in the bank. Like, what do we need next? Well, we need some kit. So, you know, we fucking went out there. We bought a bit of bought a kit. Nowhere to fucking put it.
Yeah,
no vehicles, by the way.
Dropped off in Skem.
Yeah.
Very expensive around it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not, by the way, if anyone's watching this from Skelmersdale, I'm not. Anyway, it's getting dumped, this gear, 30 grand's worth of kit in the middle of a council estate. And you can't, you know, can't all be dropped at once, and you can't burn through 30 grand's worth of kit, you know, as in putting the scaffold up
in a day.
Exactly, in a day. You've got to, you know, so we're putting as much up as we could. It was landing on the ground. We're fucking spray painting it so people wouldn't steal it, try to get some sort of marking on it, putting as much scaffolding up as we possibly could. And then the rest of it that we couldn't put up, stashing in people's gardens. Excuse me, mate, can you leave this in your garden?
He used to look after it for us.
Oh, what was his name?
Lucky Jimmy.
Jimmy.
All
right there, lads.
Fucking hell. On this fucking seat space. No one will take it out of my garden.
Yeah, no one will take your gear out of my garden, lad. Fucking hell, lad. He was a character. Oh, that whole estate was full of characters, man.
Yeah.
It was a good, really, really good place to work, actually, in the end. But yeah, fuck, it's one of them. Put your cojones on the table and crack on with it. So that's business, isn't it?
That's the first thing. It's even if you're going for a run or whatever, the hardest step is just like moving forward, starting it off. And, you know, once you get going, it's just problem solving then, isn't it? Just go to the next one, find the next deal, find the next.
It's probably, you know, that probably leads us pretty well onto the sort of the mental kind of aspects, a mental health perspective. Obviously we all have challenges that we come up against in life. I know life's thrown some fucking curveballs my way. The reason why we're having, you know, Paul's organising this this boxing event is to raise charity for something that's raise money, for charity, and a charity is very close to his heart for, you know, very personal reasons. In your own words, mate, what sort of led to this?
Yeah, so obviously I'm from a fighting background and I've always raised money for charities. Unfortunately, last year we got the worst news any parents could ever receive, and that was my daughter, who was 15 at the time, had Hodgkin Lymphoma, cancer. She had 5 tumours. It just shook us to the core. We pretty much went to the doctors, went to the hospital, and we never came home for 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah, it was day on, day off with the wife while she was receiving treatment and stuff.
And I think this is, you know, the thing that most people don't think. I mean, no, I'm a father. You know what I mean? I've got 3 kids. I've got 2 girls. When people say, you know, it doesn't bear thinking about, the thought of it fucking chills me to you know, to the bone, to, you know, as a dad, to have that kind of news. And as you've said there, 6 months, life doesn't, you know, the rest of the world doesn't stop. You've still got bills to pay. You've still got, you know, jobs, this, that, and the other. Life sort of goes on around you, but you're fucking frozen in time almost, I guess.
Yeah, it's that year went probably that fast for us. We didn't have time to have a shit, you know. It was just a crazy time for any parents. I think the worst thing was when she lost her hair, for a 15-year-old girl to lose her hair, and you know, she was screaming in the bathroom in the morning. We jumped out. We were lost as parents. We were lost. It was all new to us. We didn't know. I mean, you see cancer every day, but you don't expect one of your own to get it.
No.
So when it was just a big bombshell.
It's fucking, you know.
Especially at such a young age as well. Like normally it's your grandparents or
Yeah.
you know, your parents are probably going to deal with it.
But
to get a phone call about your daughter.
But everything after that, you notice cancer. There's cancer adverts on tele.
Yeah.
Someone on a TV program's got cancer, and you literally see it every day. You
Yeah.
know? And I mean, but going into the hospital, the ward 84 and 825, I think it was. I remember first walking in and a situation. When I walked in, always sticks with me. There was this young girl in a princess dress. My head was down. Obviously, I was upset. I was walking onto the ward, and I just seen her pushing these 2 trolley things, and there was like leads coming off her. She was barefoot, pink princess dress, and I just lifted my head up, and she was only about 3, smiling away, bald head, and I was just like, oh, this is it. My life, everything's ending, and you know, it just took me aback. When I'm a strong man, and when they told me, I collapsed.
Yeah.
I couldn't breathe. I felt claustrophobic. I couldn't get out the room quick enough.
Yeah.
My wife, I just got up, collapsed. And I remember I couldn't get my shoes on. And I remember this guy coming over to me and patting me on the back saying, "Don't you worry, mate. I was in your shoes 2 weeks ago." And it inspired me to get up.
Yeah.
And
crack on.
And I knew I had to be strong for my daughter and my wife and Freya as well. So, you know, it was hard for Freya. She was left on her own. Not left on her own, but, you know.
So Freya's your youngest.
The youngest one. I think all of our mental health took a bit of a bashing that year. And, you know, this year now, we're through it. She's in remission. She had to have the radiotherapy as well. She had the chemo. She battered it in true warrior style, like her dad. She smashed it.
Oh, fair play.
And that's why we're doing this big charity do now. It's like Stockport County. We're going to have 8 fights. We've got a DJ, a live band. And we're going to try and raise at least £20,000. What we're going to do, we're going to get a van, go to Costco, stock up tellies, computers, you name it, iPads, the lot, and then just rock up and say, "Here we go."
I think you'll smash that target. I hope so. I mean, if this, you know, this is the first episode, and I was like, I couldn't ask for something better, because, you know, this is what we should be doing podcasts, what we should be doing, you know, media for, is getting important, strong messages out about mental health.
Yeah.
And, you know, raising awareness, you know, for charities supporting, you know, cancer. And you know, I think with cancer, a lot of the time you think about, you know, obviously you're going to the poor person who, you know, who's been diagnosed, the family, the extended family, your little girl, your youngest, you know, just going through kind of, she's growing up herself. She's, you know, at that age, 14, 15, you're becoming a young
woman,
adult,
yeah,
aren't you?
yeah.
A young woman. And, you know, to have all those hormones flying about and everything else, and knowing that your sister's battling something, you know, fucking hell, what a strong family. Do you know what I mean? What a fucking top family you've got. Yeah,
we you know, we're getting there. You know, still got to have scans and stuff every 6 months and stuff like that, and checkups, and But you know, I think we're over the battle now. We've smashed it, so she's in remission. So yeah, it'd be good to get the gloves back on and have a good scrap on the night. I'm 45, not getting any younger.
I think someone's going to get an absolute pace in here.
He's promised this is going to be his final fight now.
All
right.
Yeah, this final fight's been going on for the last 20 years.
This is the swan song. No, you'll never let it go. You'll never let it go.
I know. I'm gonna burn the gloves. I've got to burn the gloves.
Yeah. Has Mrs. had any saying that, or?
Well, if I get any more injuries, that's it. She's divorcing me.
It's almost like the Tony Bellew story, isn't it? It's like, if I get in that ring one more time, she's fucking leaving.
So I'm not telling her about my biceps. I'm just going to cover that up in a minute with a long t-shirt. Oh shit! I just saw it on a podcast.
I think you need it though. Like, you need to feel that competition, don't you? I just think, fucking hell, what you've been through. You're not fighting him, Zach. Someone's going to get an absolute pace, then he's. No.
Zach's an hard hitter, man. He don't stop hitting hard. He needs to rein it in a bit. He hurt me before.
Yeah. You're heavy set lad, aren't you? You know what I mean? Yeah, we've had a bit of a move round before.
Yeah. I've been about a bit.
I've been about a bit. Yeah. I think I caught one on the fucking end of my nose. Like, it's good though. I think just it's a strange scenario when it's sparring somebody because you're not trying to hurt each other. You're not trying to rip holes out of each other.
First round sort of testing each other out, and by the end of it, it's just fucking blow for
yeah, it builds on it. It's like,
but you need that though, because obviously come a fight.
Yeah,
you're gonna gash yourself out. I'm learning going back. I'm not boxed. I was very limited boxing experience. Like, done a bit of inter-company boxing in the army and stuff. Had about couple of bouts, but yeah, it's such a different sport from like BJJ, especially now. See, when I first started BJJ, I was saying before, like all I had was speed and strength and just being like naturally fit. And I think now I'm getting more technically better at jiu-jitsu. I can slow it down a bit more, which has not helped my fitness. So then I was like, yeah, go on, I'll have a bit of boxing fight,
But don't you think
I can do a bit? And then he was like, yeah, your fitness in there, mate. I was like,
yeah, but don't you think don't you think your fitness is different from BJJ to stand-up boxing? I mean, grappling on the floor, we can do all day, every day.
Yeah.
But standing up, it's total different fitness. I mean, when I was doing the MMA, we was getting big guys coming into the gym, big guys like me, and you felt fit guys who do running marathons every day and stuff like that. But rolling on the floor after 2 minutes, they were gone, gassed out. It's a total different kind of fitness.
Yeah, I've only ever fucked about with any of it really, but I've never been to a dojo, done any BJ. I'd love to get into it. Probably will. But the only thing you kind of done that can compare to it is like one, having an actual fight, and two, just having little roll rounds, with your mates. Like me and Frank had a bit of a roll around in his living room, and it's like,
I think he challenges everyone. Frank,
he does. He's a fucking weirdo. He doesn't. By the way, this is
the Owens mate. We're all just scrappers out. Yeah.
But I highly recommend to anybody to get into Brazilian jiu-jitsu, even as a kid. Ask yourself now, when you're having a fight, where does it always end up?
Yeah, 100%. It's
on the floor,
going to the deck.
If you can put someone to sleep. Well, if you don't tap, then it snaps, innit?
Yeah.
And a few lads in my gym, forgot to tap, and unfortunately, it snapped. So sorry, mate.
Yeah. I think that's one thing you don't get from boxing. Like in boxing, sparring,
you can only heavy spar maybe once or twice a week in boxing, and then you are feeling it. You're probably not. It's more of a fitness, learning your skill, and then spar. But in jiu-jitsu, you can spar 6-7 days a week,
and it's full throttle, isn't it? It's like, you say, someone ain't tapping, then fucking it's snapping.
But this is trust thing, get it? Like, and once you've been in the gym for a bit, and where everyone's sort of at, you can push it a bit with certain people. Other people might not like the aggression side of it, and everyone changes jiu-jitsu for different reasons, innit? People do it for like a hobby, or people do it to compete. It's finding that balance. When I first started, everyone was like, fucking hell. I was just fucking all over, proper like white belt trash all over the place. Looking. But then I think I've toned it down.
Have you progressed now? Are you still white belt?
Nah, blue belt.
Oh, there we go. He's getting there.
Yeah. So probably like final thoughts about the boxing fight you've got coming up.
Yeah, I just think for a mega cause, we'll post a link close to the time. Anyone that's not can't attend for whatever reason, but would still like to donate. Like you said, I'll post that. And, it's just about raising money and something bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
I think we just got to go out there and win that.
That's it. Yeah, winning as well.
Yeah, that's it. With an event like this, as much as it's about raising money for charity, you want to fucking win, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, you're
Put
not
your
there.
Pride on the line.
You're not there to take part. You're there to fucking take over. Do you know what I mean? You wanna go out there with a W. Gents, it's been fantastic having you on. I've really enjoyed having a chat. It's the inaugural episode. It's the first one. So we've set a benchmark down. The last thing I'm going to mention is, do you have a ring announcer?
We do now, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, we have got one, yeah.
Isaac Morrison, I think.
Because, well,
go on.
I'll end with this. For the thousands in attendance, for the millions watching at home around the world, let's get ready to rumble. And we're out. Nice one. Well done, boys.
Nice one. That's a wrap.